Hey, and welcome back to another session of Meditations with Marigny. And today I wanted to just pop on and do a quick conversation with you. And also, I want to say thank you to those of you that have been emailing me, those of you that have texted me and said that you have enjoyed the content. I will ask that you will continue to click share, if you would continue to click like, and if you would continue to subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. But today I was thinking about something fairly simple, and I was reading a thread on an email group that I'm in for parents. And the thread was basically, it said, hey, let's start a thread. We're going to just talk about general things, no specific topic. Just post something that you like. And one of the posts simply said, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I didn't do a copy, but it simply said, surround yourself with people who will hold you accountable and people who are not afraid to tell you the truth. And so today I kind of want to talk about the acts of accountability. And I think that sometimes in this current society, we've gotten away. People think that accountability means control. Accountability means that we have just put some boundaries in place, and we have some standards, and we have some borders that are not to be tampered with. And I do think that in previous years or previous times, there were things that were used against us for the purpose of control. But I think that at this time, we need to really look at what parameters are we putting in place to be accountable. And it is difficult when you are in a society that no longer has high moral standards and high ethical standards, that kind of everybody is doing whatever they want to do. And I think that we have that free will to do so. But also, I think within the society that we live, you have other societies that live within that. And in other words, you got sub societies, if you would, inside of those, inside of this general society that we live in. There are certain practices and there are certain things that I don't necessarily look down on someone else because that's their choice, but it's just a choice that I have chosen not to make. Now, does that mean that we're not always evolving? Because I think one of the things that I've looked at is that I may have thought that life was not as I may have thought that life was not as flexible as it is, and in that sometimes I might have had like just one way of thinking about something. But at this point in time and place in my life, I've learned that we all evolve into someone different than who we were, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I think that when we talk about, as you all know, at my channel, we're mostly talking about relationships. You have to know how to move with that evolvement. You want people in your life that will hold you accountable for things that you are working on, for goals that you have set, for desires that you have, for expectations that you've put in place. And that doesn't mean that you have people in your life that kind of throw that up in your face, but it means that you have people that remind you to stay the course. You have people that will support you when you are off balance or you feel like you're not moving in the direction that you felt like you wanted to be moving in. And so today I was just sitting at my desk and I was thinking about, accountability of many things, not just relationally between a man and a woman, but accountability with your job, accountability with your weight, accountability with your eating habits, accountability with your home. Um, it's just different areas that we can find ourselves being accountable in. If the job doesn't require that you have to clock in and out, do you actually get to work on time? Do you, take a lunch? I mean, relatively speaking, everybody may come in a little late here and there. Everybody may take a little bit more time on their hour lunch and they might go out and splurge and come back a little bit later. But is that a core habit of yours, or is that something that just kind of happens every now and then? And so It's the little things like that that help us to then transition into who we are as a person. It helps us to transition into what our characteristics look like when we move into relationships and when we are connected to other people. Those personal, accountable standards that we put in place is then what we carry into a relationship. And oftentimes, what I've learned is that people typically don't do the work on themselves to hold themselves accountable, to set the standards for themselves. And then they carry that into a relationship with them. And they expect that the other person will then understand what it is that they're doing or not doing. Because sometimes it's not what we do, sometimes it's what we're not doing. And so that thought, it just made me just think a little bit deeper, even within myself. I'm always looking at ways that I could make corrections, ways that I could be better than I am. Not because I'm shooting again for perfection, but because I'm just trying to be the best version of me that I can be. When you see people, let's just say you go to a class reunion, and you see people 20, 30, 40 years later, and they're still doing the same thing that they were doing when you were in high school, that means that that person has not been accountable. They have not evolved. They have not done any work. Now, personality traits typically don't change. Who I am now is the same person I was when I was a little girl. It's the same person I was in high school. If my friends see me now, they're like, Mary, you still the same. You still the same bubbly person. You always smiling. You always this. I was that girl back then. Now, the difference is back then, I did not I did not know how to shield and or I did not know how to protect that component of myself. I was such a free bird, and I just felt like everybody in the world was beautiful and everybody treated you the same, and I operated in that manner. Now, I will say now I'm more selective in that. My spirit of discernment is a lot different. I may put myself out there or something, but I'm going to be testing that water to see whether or not that's a safe space for me. And that's only because I know that that's the space that I create for other people. And because of that, I have to protect it within myself. But for the most part, what I really want us to look at is, are we holding ourselves accountable? For those of you that may follow my channel, I know that my channel is not going to be one of those that like just grows so quickly, because it's more for people who are truly trying to make a change. And in that, many people are not shooting for that depth of understanding within themselves. I think it's a smaller pool of people that really desire to press themselves to come out of their comfort zone and to correct some of their errors and things of that sort. I think that's a fewer amount of people than it is those that are willing to just say, I'll live with these flaws and I'm good with it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just that it changes the dynamics of people that you also can be around and be affiliated with, depending on what your personal expectations are. So mainly today, I just wanted to come on and just chat about that particular clip that I saw. I really try to surround myself with people that can speak into my life, even when it's something that I don't feel is nice or kind, and I won't say kind, even when it's something that I feel is not what I want to hear. I'll put it that way. I trust certain people in my life enough that they can speak into my life and assure that I have that area that they can have that safe space to have that conversation with me. So today, we just wanted to talk about the acts of accountability. So what are you doing that you're trying to hold yourself accountable for something that you might have not been as accountable for in the past? And if you enjoy my channel, remember to join me on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. on Facebook Live. And I would love for you to click like. I would love for you to share this with a friend. And I would be ecstatic if you would subscribe. Have a good one. Bye.